I've been calling Dubai my home for the past 8 months. Before that I lived in Europe, and after I moved from Europe to Dubai, there's a lot of people who now tell me all these things like, oh, isn't Dubai really strict? Isn't Dubai too hot? Doesn't it have this and this problem? I recently came back here to Dubai after spending the summer in Europe and Asia, so now having been in Dubai and been away and now being back has allowed me to reflect on what it's actually like to live here in Dubai and which ones of these things that people always say about Dubai are actually true. Overall, I have obviously decided that Dubai is the optimal place for me, but I do have to be honest that there is one big problem that could cause me to leave. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video.
Now, the first problem that I want to talk about is the heat, and specifically summer heat. I'm currently here in my balcony with this nice view. It's currently September and it's quite hot out here. It's 42 degrees. The thing with the heat in Dubai is because it's so humid, it really feels more like 47. Like generally, if you look at the temperature, like the feels like temperature is going to be like 5, 6, 7 degrees higher than what it is outside when it's already 42 degrees in the meter. But I want to be clear, it's only this hot in the summer. In the winter, the weather is absolutely perfect. And like, I love warm weather. That was always my thing. I wanted to move to a country where the weather is just always warm. But obviously there is a limit to this warmth. So ideally, if you are living in Dubai and you want to live here full time for the full 12 months, then this is a problem that you will have to deal with.
Now, of course, to mitigate this, you can just be inside. Everything is air conditioned. There's amazing malls. There's amazing things to do inside. But let's say if you are a runner and you would want to spend the entire year here, that is going to be tough. But the way I and most people I know here mitigate the heat is simply by spending 6 to 8 months in Dubai in winter when the weather is actually perfect, like literally perfect, and then just spending the summer elsewhere, maybe in their home countries. So the heat is a problem if you are in a situation where you want to spend the entire year in Dubai. But for most people who are here, who are online business owners, it is not actually a problem because a lot of us actually want to travel around the summer anyway. Dubai is sort of a part of a larger plan of living in multiple places around the world. And that is exactly the kind of lifestyle that I want to live and that I talk about on this channel. So for someone like me, I don't really mind the heat because I'm not here when it's that hot. The next thing is something that people usually associate with Dubai, and that is that Dubai is very strict. You can't do anything. There's all these rules and laws, and we don't have human rights, and like most of this is pretty inaccurate. This is something that maybe used to be true, and the general trend is that every single year it becomes more and more liberal. A lot of these traditional rules get lifted as time goes on, and very, very quickly. Even something that might have been a rule 5 years ago is probably not anymore. So if you just look at this, what strict rules does Dubai actually still have? Well, you can't protest on the streets, and there's some things like it's improper to walk around shirtless outside of beaches. You should not kiss in public. So there's things like that. But when you think practically, like for me, none of these are actually problems. Like I don't want to protest on the streets. I don't really have anything bad to say about the monarch because they're doing such a great job with this country and the city in actually bringing this place forward, which by the way cannot be said for most Western countries. So what this really comes down to, like in this day and age in Dubai, is like, are you more focused on ideology or practice? Like sure, technically it's not free in terms of like you don't have total freedom of speech like you do in the US, but in practice you wouldn't be spending your time protesting on the streets anyway. Like sure, if that's what you want to do, you would want to go and do that. Dubai is not for you. But if you view life more like practically, like you just want to get on with your life, you just want to focus on yourself, maybe your business, your career, your life, then actually you will find that Dubai is more free than a lot of the West. As long as you don't bother the locals, you don't bother the government, they will leave you alone. Mind you, unlike in the West where, well, I won't say anything else, but I will leave that subject at that, and you can make up your own mind. But sure, there are still some rules that might be a problem for someone. So you need to look at them yourself and decide. But what I really love about the UAE, in contrast again to the West, is that in almost everything, the general trend about this country in general is always positive. Things move in the right direction. Whatever problems Dubai has today, you can bet that they will be fixed in 3 years because they want people to move here. They want to make this place attractive, and specifically make it attractive for highly ambitious people, for business people, for successful people. Whereas in the West, it seems like every single year they want to make life more difficult for people like myself. But again, depends on what kind of person you are. Another example of where this is true is in the problem category of not having nature. So to the surprise of absolutely no one, Dubai is not very green. It's a city in the desert after all. Now to me, the concept of a city in the desert is actually kind of cool. Like I kind of like the vibe, but I do definitely feel Dubai is the kind of place where after a while you sort of need a break, if you will, because it does not have that much nature. You start feeling like you need a break in a place like Singapore, for example. But again, so Dubai has a problem with lack of nature. Guess what they're doing? Well, they're putting in place a plan to literally plant nature into Dubai to make it have nature. But again, this is another reason where Dubai is definitely more optimal when it's combined with a bigger plan of living in Dubai perhaps 6 to 8 months of the year in the winter and then going somewhere else in the summer, which is what a lot of people do. The next problem people often state about Dubai is that it's really expensive, and I actually don't think it's that expensive when you look at it. It's just the same price that you would expect from any developed tier 1 city. A dinner will cost like 20 to 30 bucks. A 1-bedroom is just under $2,000 US a month on average, like a place like this. All of this is actually significantly cheaper than say London or New York or Singapore. But I would say Dubai starts to make the most sense where you make, let's say, 7 to 8 grand a month, or like a good amount of money. Below that, the tax savings that you would get are probably offset by the cost of living, and it might be more advantageous to look at places like Thailand or Bali or Eastern Europe. But overall, I actually think Dubai is very reasonably priced relative to what you get. It's the cleanest city I've ever been to. It's the safest city I've ever been to. It's super interesting and entrepreneurial. Optimal weather for half the year, none of which can be said for example, London, which is more expensive, less safe, and you get none of those other benefits. So none of these problems with Dubai are actually problems for me personally, and that is why I am here. I think it's the right place for me because it just has the culture I desire of entrepreneurship, lots of creators here, lots of business owners are moving here, and at my income level, it's just very hard to argue against Dubai from a financial standpoint. But the biggest thing for me is just the weather. The time that I do spend here, the weather is absolutely perfect. Like, it's just so nice to walk outside every day and it is sunny. But does that mean that I will stay here forever? Well, who knows? Like I said, every summer my plan is to check out new places around the world. And of course, it's possible that in my travels around the world in the summer, I end up discovering a place where maybe I end up developing a really nice network there, or I just really end up falling in love with some other place. And I feel like that is the only problem with Dubai that could cause me to leave, is if I end up liking a different place even more. But now, if you are considering moving to Dubai and you want to understand like what is actually the process like, how easy it is to move here, how much would it cost you, what kind of visas can I get, I made a video on this exact topic right here where I break down everything, and I also tell you some fatal mistakes that you want to avoid if you do move here. So if you're considering moving to Dubai, make sure to watch this video before you do that.